So you've done a guest speaking slot for us on Navigate Narcissism now. So you tell everybody what it is that you do.
So in essence, I go into people's homes, help them sort through their things, help them make good decisions about what they want to keep and what they don't, organize it back and set it up in a system that kind of works for their lives, and then take a load of things to charity and help the charities make some money and clear the space at the same time. So it's kind of win-win. But usually it's kind of working through the process of why have you got so much stuff, what you feel overwhelmed with, and actually how I can help you sort through your things. So the idea really is the only thing that they have to do is make decisions. Everything else is taken care of, and they're never left with piles to sort through. There's never a homework. It's all too overwhelming for people to do. So kind of reset the space before we even leave and take the items away with us at the same time. So it's not in a hallway waiting to go to a charity shop or in your car for 6 months, which, and slowly it creeps back into the house anyway.
Beautiful. And why do you think people have so much stuff? Why do you think there's the rise of the need for people like yourself, a professional declutterer? Why do you think people accumulate so much stuff?
It's just so easy. Amazon is 2 buttons, 3 buttons. It's so easy. I think a lot of people get a sort of a dopamine hit when they're buying stuff. If you have a lot of stuff, you don't really know what you've got. Say, for example, which is one of the main categories I get called in for. Your clothes are everywhere. You don't know what you've got. So the next time you're passing a charity shop or in a supermarket, a pair of black trousers, that top's nice, but you've got 30 nice tops, but it's just so chaotic. Your mind doesn't know what you've actually got. And then obviously you got more stuff. And so you just use the top layer, the top 5-10% of what you've got. And that just continues. And actually, if you actually took it all out and laid it all out, you got 10 black jeans, 5 of them don't fit anymore. They don't feel good. You don't feel nice wearing them for whatever reason. So you only really need 3, but you can't see it because it's just so much stuff and it's just accumulates and it's hard. It's really overwhelming. It's not something you can do in 10 minutes. You need a day to do it. You need 2 days to do it. Well, if you're busy working, you just haven't got 10 hours to dedicate to it, even if you wanted to.
And what would you say are the typical type of clients that you serve?
I think really kind of the 2 or 3, but there's a lot of creative people, lots of neurodiverse clients who are just, yes, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And they're beautiful creations. We need people like that in the world. But organization is difficult because they just jump kind of to one thing to another to be organized, though. And you see a lot of hyper organization where they do 50 categories and then they make it perfect and then they can't maintain it because it's just too overwhelming and it's too much. So I'd say kind of creative people is 50% of my clients. You'll have the physical health and the mental health where something's happened in their lives and for whatever reason, control has been let go of. Once it's kind of let go, it's just too overwhelming to tackle. So yeah, but creative beings do know that they kind of need help when they just know this is not my bag, baby, and that's okay because they're great at other things.
The categories that you help people with, one thing you've said is clothes. Are there like different categories that you assist people with?
Yeah, so the top one is clothes. Kitchens are quite a big one, probably like the 3rd most popular. Then it's like a garage or a cupboard of doom where it's just like they've done the easier stuff, but then it's just the really horrible cupboards that you just go, oh no, let's just get someone in for this.
And gender-wise, do you tend to have a particular gender that tend to call up? Does it tend to be more women than men?
Yeah, it's interesting. Probably 95% are women, I would say. So sometimes women get in touch for their man. And that's an interesting thing that often I see in couples. One is, well, why can't you just get rid of it and just get it out? And another one is, oh, but everything has a meaning and a use and a purpose. And so sometimes they call me in because there's been conflict in the couple or your family members are saying, well, just sort your space out. But there's a lot of shame and and it's much more complicated than just getting rid of stuff for a lot of people.
What do you observe about the kind of relationship that people have with their stuff?
Yeah, everyone kind of keeps stuff for a different reason. But
Yeah.
I think if you have a lot of stuff, you've heard a lot of negativity about that stuff and the space for years, maybe from a partner, maybe from friends and family. Maybe you haven't even invited people into your space
Yeah.
for a couple of years, which I hear quite often. And just picking up the phone to me is a massive deal of asking for help. And it's a wonderful thing because I know that that's the beginning of them saying, right, I want to get on top of this. People can't see why you have a lot of stuff and it's complicated. It can be boredom, it can be that dopamine fix, a creative person. They have so many things going on and that keeps their brain ticking. Otherwise, they would go mad. That is their safe place.
So the relationship that people have with their stuff, and even though there's a part of them that may know they need to do X, Y, Z, they're in deep conflict with themselves.
And passed down through the parents. If you've had that kind of, well, we can use that for that, we can use that for that. It comes from the time where in the war, you fix your clothes, fix everything you've got. Whereas today's culture, it's much easier and cheaper to buy furniture, buy clothes, and it's just so easy. So it does get passed on that, oh, I'll keep this because I'm going to fix it. Well, you've been saying that for 20 years and it's still there. So it's really just about kind of opening the mind and realizing that actually your space has a value. Your space being clear and organized and clutter free, that's a high value. It's not monetary, but it's peace of mind.
Absolutely. But it sounds like what you're saying is it's families, small property, just struggling with overwhelm.
Yeah, because you're in a 2-bedroom flat. You don't have loads of storage. You've got a kid or 2 or 3 running around, adding into the mix. You're trying to work and the space gets full instantly. So you don't keep on top of the kids' toys and the kids' clothes and it builds up and it just gets harder and harder. And of course, you don't have the time or the energy. Once you put the kids to bed at 8, 9 o'clock, the last thing you want to do is go tackle those kitchen cupboards.
Absolutely. What are the benefits?
I think it's like the instant gratification of the space being transformed in a 5-hour session. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3, but they can see that actually all the wardrobe is organized. All the clothes are off the floor. Everything under bed is organized. So we'll get all your black jeans, all your skirts, all your formal wear, all your t-shirts. And then it's so much easier to go, okay, I don't need 25 t-shirts. I can get that to 15. Brilliant. Do that with each category and that's all you have to do, and you just go away and you leave me to make it all pretty. I love organizing, but I also love seeing things kind of leave the space that aren't serving, and you get to enjoy the clothes. And people often say it feels like they've gone shopping again because they find all these clothes that they haven't seen for years and you start wearing it going, oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Forgot about that.
It feels nice.
Beautiful. And obviously you can have a cleaner who comes in, cleans your house. This is a very different experience and requires empathy, compassion, sensitivity. What type of training do you have to become a professional declutterer?
Well, I think most people that I know that are declutterers or organizers, they just have a natural passion for organizing and being quite a minimalist. I'm a minimalist. I have a passion for order and knowing where things are. And that's just inbuilt. I remember as a kid spending hours organizing my day minute by minute. Well, never did any of it, but the organizing was the fun. And I used to measure up my floor and cut things out, made to measure scale and move things around. That was my passion. That's what I really love. So I think that's half of it. And probably the other half is the people skills, wanting to help people. There's almost no training for it. I can teach you the logical steps of how to work through things and how to deal with different clients and what people actually need. But really, it's just an empathic ear, understanding what they need. People mostly don't need your Instagram perfect, color coordinated pencils. They haven't got time to mess around with all of that. And they need just floor space. They need some surfaces. They need to know where the kids' stuff is. It's half being passionate about organizing and trying to make things as efficient as possible, but understanding what the client needs. Some clients just need a bit of order and a bit less stuff, and then they're all right. You just need to reset. I always use the word, it's a reset, because they don't need to be fixed. They just need to be reset. I come and do the reset, and then they can maintain that.
So what 3 tips would you have for people who are feeling overwhelmed by the stuff in their home? I know that's quite general, but what would be your 3 key tips
Look at categories. So don't look at the bedroom. Look at categories. Go, right, I'm doing my underwear today.
Right.
And that's my mission, is get all the underwear out, sort through your socks and whatever it is, and then put that back. If you try and kind of tackle the whole room, you're going to sink. And that's where people get so overwhelmed. It does look worse before it gets better, definitely. But then usually by that stage, halfway through, you sit down for dinner, and of course you don't want to go back to it. So don't bite off more than you can chew. Tip number 2, I would say, is give yourself as much time to organize it as you do for decluttering. Tear it all out, start going through it, declutter, and they think that is the job. Enough time to put it back and organize it in a way that works for them. So when I do a session, say a 5-hour session, I will spend 2.5, 3 hours decluttering with the client. Organizing is just as important. So it's funny because most people ask me, oh, what shall I buy before the session? And I always say, don't buy anything for now, because normally once we've had a good declutter, what you've got is usually enough, and then you'll end up with empty boxes anyway. So kitchens and bathrooms and things like that, containers are really good for high up shelves and low down places. I'm in love with these boxes. I live on these because it's just so handy. I wouldn't rush out. Do you have a storage problem or do you have a stuff problem? That's the question. So tackle the stuff, and then you can think about pretty storage.
Beautiful.
Third tip, body doubling. They might keep you focused. Obviously, not a judgmental person who is giving you a hard time, but you need a safe person. But there is like an app out there, I think called Adobe or something like that, which is from a ADHD and autistic couple, and they put together, and they literally have videos on making your bed, videos on doing your washing up, body doubling, because it really does help. When I have to send hard emails, I go sit in my son's room because I don't want to do it. Just that energy. I don't know, there must be some neuroscience around it, but
absolutely sounds a little bit like accountability.
It is. It just helps you. Yeah.
And mindfulness about, actually, this might be a task. Let me get somebody else there, so it's just not me on my own, where I can easily end up going
distracted.
Yeah, absolutely. Kim, if people want to get in touch with you, where do they find you?
So just check out the website, decluttermyspace.co.uk. There's a phone number on there. You can book a free consultation, and you can book a session straight away if you're up for it. It's set up so you can just book it anytime. I'm a late night person, so I like to book things at 10 o'clock at night. So I wanted to make sure that was available. So yeah, Declutter My Space, have a free chat and just talk through your issues. And sometimes I can just give a bit of advice on what you might need and where you need to go without even having a session. And I'm more than happy to do that.
All right, Kim. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time out, not only to be with the group, but also to have this conversation here. I thoroughly recommend your service, and just keep on doing the great work that you do.
Oh, love you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.